Okay. I don't want it recording. Hey everybody, this is Inarra Griffyn, and I am with a very special woman today, Maria Diaz. And we have been on the path of pleasure in different ways. Maria's got an amazing story, but this really is, let me just let somebody else in. This really is for Valentine's Day, for you lovers out there to remember that it's not just about having a lover, it's about self-love. Hey, Ania, nice to see you and everybody else who's there. So I'd like to just start with inviting Maria to tell us a little bit about her journey, because you've basically had quite a journey, I would say, and I don't even want to interpret it. I just want to allow you to tell us all about you.
Thank you so much, Inara. First of all, I want to thank you for creating this event, for bringing us women together to have the conversations about pleasure, to have the conversations about reconnecting to our womb space, to our pussies. And I know that that could be just the word can be something that some women consider offensive or bad or wrong or inappropriate. And that's part of the conversation is being with all the ways that we've been raised to believe about our womb space, about the sacredness of our bodies and specifically our pussies. So to tell you a little bit about my story, I grew up in a space that was my parents weren't overly religious, but because I'm Hispanic, I grew up in an environment of the Catholic religion. And the thing that my parents took on from that is to say to me when I was a young teen that I shouldn't have sex before marriage. And if I did, that would make me somebody who wasn't desirable to a good man, that I would lose a part of me that was very important that I gifted to a man. And that began a journey for me of dishonoring myself. Once I lost my virginity at the age of 19, I I took on the identity that I was used good, that I was broken, that I wasn't worthy enough to be in a relationship with a high value man, with the kind of man that I wanted, the kind of man that I desired. And so I settled. And the way that that played out in my life is I got involved with my ex-husband who was abusive. He was emotionally, physically, and mentally abusive. It began with just emotional abuse and putting me down, and then it moved on to physical abuse later on in our relationship. And we were together for 20 years and have two beautiful daughters. And it took me going through the experience of breast cancer in 2014 to wake up and ask myself very valuable questions about who I am, what kind of life do I want to live, what do I value, and am I living my truth? Am I living a happy life? Am I exploring the things that I want to explore in life? And I discovered that I wasn't. And I was allowing someone to mistreat me because I had a toxic relationship with myself, because I lost my connection to my divinity, to my soul. And I truly believe that our womb space, our pussies, are the direct portal to the universe, to God. We women are the direct portal here on earth to God, to consciousness, to magic and miracles and magnetism and all the amazing things that we came here to experience. But through the way that we grow up, and sometimes through religion, or in my case, the way my parents raised me, the conditioning from different parts of life, we end up believing and severing ourselves. We end up severing ourselves from our pussies, from our yonis, from our womb space. And in 2017, I did a program that was 9 months that went into like so many inquiries about asking myself very deep questions. And in that program, I discovered that I was so repressed and I felt so much shame in my sexuality. Um, just to back it up, in June of 2015, I chose myself and I left my ex-husband. And it took me in a journey of self-development. So I took on self-development like it was life or death. Like it was something that I had to do, that I desired to do, that I committed to wholeheartedly. And it was a scary experience and it was very confronting. And I had to go into spaces that I hadn't traveled into before, into the shadows of my soul. But I discovered me and I fell in love with me, all of me. And that is something that I want to invite all of us into as women, to fall in love with ourselves, all of it, everything, however it comes, because that's where our power is. When we love ourselves, and I can tell you, hey, I get angry fast, or I'm loud, and I'm very bold and chicky and sassy, you know, and sometimes I'm crazy and outspoken, and sometimes I'm soft and loving and cuddly. When I know everything about me, and I know that, you know, I'm somebody who sometimes procrastinates, or, you know, when I'm scared about something, I stall, I freeze. Then if you come and tell me, oh, I think you're this and I think you're that, like it doesn't faze me. I already know that about myself, right? And I can just play with it. And so that all for me healed through that experience of reconnecting to my sexuality, when I realized that I had so much shame and that I was in a cage of shame. um it it uh it opened something up. In the day that I found that out, I cried the entire day nonstop, because I was able to see how it kept me from my creativity, how it kept me from my boldness, how it kept me from me being able to vocalize what I want in my life, what I want in the bedroom, what I want in my business, what I want in a job, what I want in my friendships, what I want with my family, what I want in my relationships with my daughters. So it's like all of this self-expression just got unleashed once I connected back to my pussy, to my womb, to my sexuality. And it doesn't mean that I then um you know, just it's not for us to just say, okay, I'm just gonna go party and have sex all the time and not care and just like be like out there. um Actually reconnecting to my womb space brought integrity into my sexuality, because I got to know my own body, I got to know my own pleasure points, I got to discover, so that I could, in a moment of sharing my body with another soul, that I could guide them into what pleases me and what I desire and what I love. And it also connected me more to my spirituality, to God, to the universe, to Mother Nature. And yeah, it just brought so much magic into my life. And I want every woman to experience that. I want every woman on earth to know her power. Our sacral, our pussies, are our connection to our power, our sex, and our money. So it is very important for us to release shame in that area of our bodies, to connect to her and to listen to her wisdom, because she has so much wisdom to share with us. So thank you for having me here.
Oh, I love having you here. It's interesting because we're in two different places, but I used to live in Toronto. I'm in London, England now. And speaking to the different speakers that I've had on this little show, this event, which is happening around Valentine's Day, one of the things that has come up is there are no great words for pussy, and people are quite uncomfortable with what to call yourself. And then when I look out into the world, one of the things is the huge levels of misogyny which are in every culture, right? You know, the West thinks it has it slightly better. Yeah, slightly. But actually, when I see the way that women, young women are shamed, the language, even in films, I was watching some, thriller last night. When they unleash on women, young women, they'll call them slags, whores. It's got an edge to it. It's it's sexualized, right? There's something about them being dirty or it's sort of inappropriate, but there are no equivalent words for men. There is nothing. You can call him a jerk, an asshole, or whatever. It's got no realm attached to it, which is about shaming them sexually, right? So we've got that whole thing. And then a very interesting, I had one conversation with somebody about the word cunt. So
Mhm.
hold on to your ears. In Britain, the word cunt is used much, much more than America and Canada. And in some parts of London, it is used as a slang to speak to somebody. And you can't even imagine that, right? In Canada, where you're from, and definitely not the States. It's a really dirty, bad word that you would call somebody. However, when a book that I wrote years ago called Sacred Journey was looking into the origins of these words that we have. And it comes directly, it's British. The word cunt actually comes from a goddess. It's a Neolithic goddess. So we're talking like 15,000 BC, pre-Christ, pre-Jesus, pre all of that stuff. And she was revered. And what she was where water spouts out of the earth. So the most ancient indigenous religions, or not even religions, spiritual path, have got this goddess who was called Kennet. And Kennet was there was a river Kennet, part of a sacred site where people would go and revere the goddess and her life, energies, which were all issuing out of the earth as water. And that has been degraded, Kennet, into many, many different things. And there was a time, probably Elizabethan times, the word cunt was considered very favorable, right? And then again, this warping of misogyny. I mean, the parts that we talk about, they're all pretty clinical and awful when it comes to sex. I prefer pussy any day because it's kind of, cat-like and it's kind of sweet. But, yoni I use all the time, which is yoga. It's connected. So that's become acceptable. But people, I'll just tell you a tiny story. So I created this aphrodisiac, and can you see the symbol, right? Which is obviously a pussy. But it's called the Queen's Pleasure, but I wanted the yoni aspect of it tweaked. And my neighbor, the designs came back and all of that. And my neighbor, who's a guy, I saw him in the garden and I said, do you think you could, tweak this design a little bit? Because what I want is a shine in the yoni. And he goes, what's a yoni? And I'm like, oh no, here we go. It's a vagina. And we have this conversation, which was very ridiculous. But so a lot of people don't know that language, right? And we're trying to find something for women to use. And so pussy hopefully won't be uncomfortable for people, really, because it's a softer version. But all of them were sacred once, and they've all been denigrated over time, right? This language of it. So I'm delighted to have you in the sphere speaking to women about we need to wise up a little bit and get to know a little bit of the history here, which is directly linked to the witch hunts and all of this, and sexualized shame. is direct from religion. That's where it comes from. And it's usually a group of men. I could be so audacious to say a group of white men who made a decision in these different religions to go, okay, well, women are dangerous because they've got this power of life-giving power. We don't really understand how they manage that, so that they start to create shame around sex. And yeah, and so thoughts about that?
Thank you for bringing that conversation in, because it's so tied up to what I'm going to share today, the experience that I want to take the beautiful goddesses that have joined live and the ones that are watching the replay. First of all, I want to honor you and I want to thank you for showing up for yourself in this kind of space, in this level of sisterhood and togetherness. This is a sacred and safe space for all of you to come, however you are, whether you're on camera or not, whether there are children in your environment and you're just listening, and whether you can, grab a little journal quickly and a pen so you can make some declarations to yourself, light a candle. I have flowers, candles, and my bubbly water with some strawberries. But whatever you can do to make this your sacred space, to come into this container and be here for you. This is for you, to give yourself a gift of reconnecting to you and your power and your essence and your divinity. We women birthed Mother Earth. We birthed humanity. And we continue to birth generations of human beings. And that's quite divine and powerful. And so I want us to connect to that energy within our souls. So I have read this book, which has brought a lot of questions. Like, it had me question. It's called Pussy Prayers. And it was initially created for melanated humans, but it's got some really powerful passages and questions. And so I wanted to ask some questions just so that you can start grounding into thinking about the way that we grew up as children. What was the conversation about femininity for you as a child? Did your mother have any conversations with you about being a woman, about your womb space, about the sacredness of it, about, what it was going to look like when you were going to get your menstrual cycle? Um, or was it something you had to discover on your own? Right? So, like, who taught you about what it means to be a woman? Did anybody have any conversations with you about that? When did you learn, and how did it make you feel about what womanhood is and how to relate to other women? What does femininity mean to you? What does it mean to be feminine, to be a woman? Do you enjoy being a woman? Or do you have, those conversations like I did when I was younger? And well into my 30s, late 30s, I was like, oh, I hate my period. I hate all these parts about being a woman. It sucks. How come men don't have to go through this? How come men don't have to feel cramp pains monthly? How come they don't have to deal with our bleeding, childbearing, postpartum, menopause, like all these different parts of what it is to be a woman? And it wasn't until I reconnected to my sexuality and learned more about my body and my cycle, and the fact that my cycle is a sign of my health and my well-being. And it's the opportunity for me to experience, if I choose, which that's another thing. We don't have to choose to bear children. And we are shamed into bearing children a lot of the time. But whether you choose to bear a child or you choose to bear a business or friendships or, you know, any other mission or passion you have in your life, that's part of birthing something and creating something that we are so divine, but we've been taught to disregard our womb cycle, our you know, our menstrual cycle, and villainize it and make fun of it when it's such a beautiful part of being a woman. And it wasn't until I was almost done my bleeding journey that I actually fell in love with that part of me. And now that I am in menopause and I'm having inconsistent cycles, every time that she shows up, I'm like, thank you. I love you. I do this whole celebration because I know one day soon she no longer will be with me. And it's unfortunate that we're not taught to celebrate ourselves, all that comes with being a woman. So I want us to just drop into our bodies. I'm going to play a song. One. Let's see here. And I would like for you to listen to the words of the song, because being a woman and being in sisterhood is very nurturing and healing for all of us. And we have not only been severed from our own bodies, our pussies, and our womanhood, but from each other as sisters. We've been taught to compete with one another, stab one another, to compare ourselves to one another, to believe that there isn't more than enough abundance to go around, that we have to try to put each other down in order to succeed. And that is all a lie. When groups of women come together and mastermind, and when we are in community, and when we dance together, and when we cook together, and when we speak to one another, and when we celebrate one another, we all heal, we grow, we expand. And that's what I'm inviting all of us into as we listen to the song. And I invite you to dance or move around. And if you haven't already, you can go and grab a journal, a pen, light a candle, grab some flowers, water, tea, whatever you'd like. As I play this song, can you all hear it? Perfect.
I say welcome to the queendom. It's a holy sanctuary. Make a blessing on my body, cause I find it necessary. I free my femininity, I'll let my body move while I got Shakti reigning over me. The gave birth to all this energy, and in between my thighs I have the universe inside of me, a queendom. I say welcome to the queendom. And in my queendom, on my walls are made of mirrors, so if you can't see yourself, let your reflection make it clearer. In the queendom, women praising other women, and we're loving on each other like the way we should be living. In the queendom, we don't compare and shame or jealousy, we're busy celebrating the way God created you and me the queendom. If you feel the call to freedom, you got the keys to claim your crown and welcome to the queendom. It's a holy sanctuary, make a blessing on my body, cause I find it necessary in my queendom. I free my femininity, I let my body move while I got Shakti reigning over me. Gave birth to all this energy, and in between my thighs I have a universe inside of me. I say welcome to the queendom. And in my queendom, we are reclaiming what is ours. We can start a revolution when we learn to own our power in the queendom. It's time to stop pretending, people please, and playing weaker, cause your power is transcendent in the queendom. I let God be my direction. When I pray, I'm making love to you. Trust you are my protection in the queendom. I'm living with an open heart, because the queen knows how to feel the world and turn it into art. Welcome to the queendom. It's a holy sanctuary, make a blessing on my body, cause I find it necessary in the queendom. I free my femininity, I let my body move while I got Shakti reigning over me. Give birth to all this energy, and in between my thighs I have a universe inside of me. I say welcome to the queendom. In my queendom, it's a holy sanctuary, make a blessing on my body, cause I find it necessary in the queendom. I'll free my femininity, I'll let my body move while I got Shakti reigning over me, the queendom. Give birth to all this energy, in between my thighs I have a universe inside of me, a queendom. I say welcome to the queendom.
I love that song. I've got it too. I'm going to just ask you to stop sharing because I can't get you up on the screen. Yay. And now it should be speak and it'll be back to you.
Okay, perfect. So maybe because I'm sharing the music, then we weren't. So I'm gonna let go the desire to have music playing in the background while I'm leading the next part of this experience, so that you can put me on the speaker screen and everybody can engage and just be present. So next, what I want to do is take us through just a little guided meditation for us to ground into our bodies. And whether you're here live or you're watching the replay, this is a sacred, safe space. And however you show up is perfect. Whether you feel confronted by the language that we're speaking, whether you feel like, oh my gosh, look at that goddess, she's dancing, she's moving, she looks free and happy, and I'm just sitting here, all of it, every part of us is welcome. Every part of us is perfect. Every part of us is whole. We go through different experiences in life, and when I began my sexual journey, I didn't begin just like, I love my pussy and I love self-pleasuring and I love connecting to my sexuality and my power. There was a lot of crying. There was a lot of feeling confronted and tender and ashamed sometimes. And there was a lot of judging myself. And that still shows up. Now, though, because of the work that I've done and the love that I have for myself, for my soul, for my body, my mind, everything, I'm able to regulate my nervous system. I'm able to always bring myself back to love. And that's what I'm inviting all of us to do today, is to bring ourselves back to love, to our essence, to our divinity, however we are showing up. So let's close our eyes and take a deep breath through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth. Yes, and I'm inviting sounds to come through. Feel your body and begin to soften and arrive fully into this sacred moment. Bring your awareness down into your womb space, this powerful portal within you. And I invite you to put one heart on your heart and one hand on your womb space and connect your heart to your womb space. This powerful portal within you. Feel the warmth of your own touch, the connection to your sacred center, to your soul. With each breath, imagine a warm golden light filling your womb space. It is safe here. You are held and you are home. As you breathe, welcome any emotions that arise, whether it's joy, grief, desire, or discomfort. There is room for all of it. Let your womb hold these feelings with love, with self-compassion, with self-acceptance and self-forgiveness. There is no need to fix or change anything. Just simply allow. This space within you is a source of deep wisdom, a portal to your pleasure, to your creativity, to your magnetism and your power. Breathe into her all the way down to your womb and listen to her whispers. Trust her. With your next breath, feel a pulse of life energy, sensual, vibrant, and divine, radiating from your womb and expanding through your entire body. You are connected to the earth, to the universe, to God, and to your own divinity, to your magic as a woman. I want you to spend a few seconds there, connecting to that magic within you. And when you are ready, you can slowly bring your awareness back, carrying this connection with you, this connection to your womb space, to your pussy, to your yoni, to your kitty, to your pleasure portal, and whatever other name you want to call her. Gently wiggle your fingers and your toes and slowly open your eyes. I would love for you to share in the chat, those who are live, to share in the chat. What are you feeling at the moment? How are you feeling about that connection to your womanhood, to your pussy, to your yoni? Next, I want to take you through an experience. Ooh, Inarra's feeling free and feminine. Heather shares, I'm loving this reconnection that is unfolding in my world. Ah, how delicious. um, when I was going through my journey of healing my sexuality and my connection to my pussy, I felt so disconnected from my body. And I didn't know how to connect to that part of me. And so through all the work that I've done, I created a love letter to your pussy, which I'm going to guide you through right now. And you can either answer some of the questions, write and journal about the experience that you've had in your life with your own pleasure point. Or you can close your eyes and you can just stay connected to her, and you will get the replay so you can come back and write whenever you'd like. And my deepest desire, my mission, and my intention is for you to fall in love with her so deeply, and for you to allow and surrender and trust her, and let her wisdom, your soul wisdom, guide you in your life so you can continue creating a vibrant, delicious, pleasure-filled life on your terms, unapologetically, in your truth. So writing a love letter to your pussy is a beautiful and empowering experience. And I'm going to read to you some step-by-step instructions that I wrote for us to drop into this space. So we are in a quiet and sacred space. And my desire for you is to feel comfortable and fully connect to your thoughts, to your emotions, to your body. This will allow you to create a safe and nurturing environment for you to put your thoughts on paper or to connect to your thoughts. I invite you to reflect on past shame. Take a moment to reflect on any past feelings of shame or judgments you may have had towards your pussy, your yoni. Feel and be with any emotion that may come up. Any thoughts of, why is she using that word? That's offensive, that's wrong, that's bad. Allow yourself to acknowledge and release those negative emotions. Forgiving yourself for any self-criticism or societal pressures you may have faced. Some of us got told at a young ages when we were exploring our bodies, don't touch there. Some of us were told that the scent from our pussies was undesirable, that it was dirty. So I invite you to be with all those emotions, all those thoughts, and bring self-forgiveness to all of it. Because the people that surrounded us didn't have negative or ill intentions. They were simply trying to protect us and love us the best way that they could. And they were passing down what was taught to them. Now I invite you to embrace self-acceptance. Embrace a mindset of self-acceptance and appreciation. Recognize and honor the beauty, the uniqueness of your pussy without comparison to societal standards or expectations. Pussies are very unique and coming in all shapes, different colors, sizes, and they're all beautiful. They're all sacred, and they're all our portal to God and the universe. Embrace the understanding that your pussy is a natural and divine part of who you are. Celebrate your pussy's beauty. Reflect on the physical and metaphysical beauty of your pussy. Consider her shape, curves, and intricacies. Embrace her uniqueness and celebrate her existence as a testament of the wonders of nature. Prioritize pleasure. Acknowledge and prioritize the pleasure and desire of your pussy. Consider past experiences and personal preferences. Commit to exploring and understanding your own pleasure. Affirming that your desires are valid and worthy of attention and fulfillment. Going on journeys of self-pleasuring, touching your skin, touching your body, touching the different parts of your womb space, and just feeling into what sensations come up, what emotions come up, is so powerful. Cultivate self-love. Recognize that loving your pussy starts with loving yourself. Engage in self-care practices that nourish your mind, body, and soul. Speak kind and loving words to yourself, rejecting any negative self-talk that may have influenced your perception of your pussy. Express gratitude and reverence. Express your deepest gratitude and reverence for your pussy's presence in your life, acknowledging the joy and fulfillment she brings you. Remember that your clitoris holds over 11,000 nerve endings they have found. First, we started with over 8,000. Now they know there's over 11,000 nerve endings in our clitoris. And that part of our body was fully, wholeheartedly created for our pleasure. That is the function of that area of our pussies. It's just full, blissful pleasure. Promise to honor and cherish her, appreciating the connection to self-discovery she offers. Right from the heart, begin writing your letter, allowing your emotions and thoughts to flow freely. Use the steps above as a guide, but feel free to express your personal experiences, emotions, and desires. Write with authenticity and vulnerability, knowing that this letter is a sacred expression of your love and appreciation. You can revisit this beautiful letter that you write to your pussy after completing it. And you can edit your letter. You can add to it. conveying any other emotions or intentions, and make any necessary revisions to enhance the clarity and impact of your message. I invite you to read this letter to yourself periodically. I invite you to create a ritual of celebration for this portal of creation, of connection to your spirituality, to your bliss, to your pleasure, to your soul, to your higher self, to your wisdom, to your power, to your sex, to your money. Something that I have also done is write the letter on gorgeous paper. And then I decorate a beautiful envelope and I mail the letter to myself. So however you desire to engage with writing the sacred, beautiful letter to your pussy, feel free to create. I will give you a few more moments for those who are writing. And I invite you to share in the chat. If you feel safe to, if you feel comfortable to, if you feel called to, share a little bit of this experience. What's it bringing up for you? Have you ever done anything like this in your life? Heather said, yes, more of this, please, and thank you. Anya says she feels calm. As we complete this beautiful letter, I want to invite you to continue this exploration into your sexuality, into your connection to yourself. And one of the things that I pray for all of us to get grounded in is the fact that our pleasure is our birthright and it's ours. And it is not another human's responsibility to give us pleasure. We have the power to discover our own pleasure and take ourselves to the heights of orgasm, to the heights of blissful, delicious pleasure in our own connection to ourselves and to our bodies. So thank you for being here and sharing this sacred moment with me and Inarra. And yeah, I appreciate it. Ooh, Defa shares that it feels different, but really comfortable. And Hillary says, it's bringing up different beliefs that I didn't know were there. Thank you for this.
I just wanted to say something as well that thank you, Maria. This has been amazing. Like, really, the simplest things go the deepest. And in my own life, I have been single for a long time. And I ended up on that journey, dating. Everybody's saying the same thing, hey, what are you doing? Hey, are you picky? The usual, right? which solo women get all the time. Like, why aren't you in a relationship? And so on the journey of that, I had been on 30, no less, bad dates. And it was almost like a comedy, men who would send me pictures of guns, military men. Yeah, no, I know. I saw that face. That's how I felt when I received it. And I just was meeting people who were just completely, I wouldn't even say hello to them on the street, that level. So I knew I needed to take myself on, and I started working with this tantric healer. She was amazing, bumped into her, and she said, we need to stop dating, like stop. You have to cut it off at the root, this urge. Because whenever somebody would say, hey, aren't you doing something about it? I would feel like, oh my God, what do I do? Okay, so get on the dating thing. Roll on, I cut off completely from the dating scene, and I did some really deep work with her. And not long after that, which was about 2 years ago, even though I'm a spiritual business coach and I've done property and all sorts of things, I suddenly get this idea to create an aphrodisiac. And honestly, it was like divine inspiration. I can't even tell people like why that happened, because it's the weirdest thing to not even know the root of the thought that caused you to do something, right? But it was a bit like that. And what I started doing was, I thought, okay, who is this for? And I thought, it's for solo women. It's actually, yes, it can be used in relationships, etc., but it's for solo women. So I started using it, and I'm going to just show you it so you know what it is. So it's a tiny little bottle which says the Queen's Pleasure on it. Mostly organic ingredients, but ancient history of this is all the herbs that were used in different cultures as aphrodisiacs. They're known to cause blood flow. But I used it like a ritual. So it was, instead of thinking, hey, I want to get off, or whatever version of that you have, right? I'm going to have a good time. I was more like, I actually want to honor my sexuality and my sensuality, even though I'm not in a relationship. And so it was a very simple thing. I started doing it in a very ritualistic way. So self-pleasure, obviously getting into what delights me, but I'm not just talking about sex. It would be the environment, even just this flower yesterday, when I bought it, I thought, it's Valentine's Day, I'm going to get a flower. And the guy in the shop said, oh, it costs a lot of money for a single one. And I said, it's Valentine's Day. It's full of love. And he sort of laughed, but I could see the lack of romance, right? Just the sheer lack of romance in the world. So roll on. I started using this oil as, which you put on your clit, I hate the word vulva, can't say it without doing something weird. So all over your pussy and your nipples, and it causes stimulation, right? But the thing that I really started noticing was, I'm straight. I started noticing men looking at me differently. It was like the energetic thing, right? That the more that I spent time with myself and with this sort of pleasure oil, I started to meet men who were like, oh, they're kind of interesting. I'd have these amazing conversations with guys, and mostly they were unavailable. But what started to happen was, rather than reinforcing the old story where there's nobody around, or I can't meet anyone who's a fit for me, instead I started meeting men who were absolutely a fit, and perhaps at the beginning unavailable, right? But that has gone on. And I mean, it really is like uncanny. I cannot tell you how this thing is working, but it's all energetic. And now something is really different about me. That experience that I'm talking about, the 30 men, was 3 years ago. I did a year's work of working with a tantric healer and didn't date at all. Like, I don't want to, I've got all those apps off my phone. And that is not how I want to meet a man, right? I want to meet a man naturally. So why would you try to, fill in something? And this piece, like when I have done it today with you, Maria, it's like I realize how far I've come in loving my pussy. I so am in love with myself and what I'm up to and my pleasures, which are all my pleasures. You don't have to like my pleasures. It's that solo thing contained, even if you're in a relationship, that you start to get deeply in touch with. You're allowed to have your own pleasures. You're allowed to have your specific vibe on it, which isn't necessarily in a partnership thing. And now I'm ending up meeting people who are, it's likely I will go into a partnership. But the journey of it has been going all about myself. It's nothing to do with somebody else. It's very interesting. I can see some nodding going on, so I think some of you guys get that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I wholeheartedly agree with you. Like in my own journey, I didn't see myself being single in my 40s. But I found myself single in my 40s, and I resisted going on the apps and all of that in the beginning. And I still use apps, but the way that I date, now that I've done healing work and I've reconnected to my pussy, and right now I'm in the beginning stages of doing a tantric sexuality love and relationship certification with Layla Martin, and it's taking me even deeper into all the parts of me. And I can see over the years the quality of men and how they have completely changed. And I can see myself also shifting in the way that I be with men, the way that I handle rejection, the way that I handle when something doesn't work out, right? Um, Even so much so that, some of the single ladies know that when we're on these dating apps, everything is so impersonal. So it's easy for people to start chatting and then all of a sudden go out of communication or ghost you or whatever.
Yeah.
And that can be challenging because we take it as we're being rejected. Or maybe there's something wrong with me because this many men did this. And it has nothing to do with us. But what has happened for me, even in those apps over the years, is that now when a man no longer wants to talk to me, he actually says, oh, I met somebody else on the app. I'm choosing to talk to her. Take care. It was nice talking to you. So I'm getting that level of respect and honor for me. And that is so important. And any time that a man communicates to me, oh, I'm not feeling this anymore, or I've met somebody else, I always acknowledge them. I thank them. I'm like, thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your communication. I say, communicating your truth and your choices is the most loving thing that you can do. So thank you for honoring me in that way. And it's such a beautiful thing to experience. And then in being in partnership, last year I was in a committed relationship. And when I was in the committed relationship, it just gave me such a beautiful space to have intimate, connected conversations about my sexuality with my partner, to be able to go into these different experiences. And it actually brought me closer to my own spiritual experiences and being able to create spiritual soul experiences with my partner. And so I love pleasure. I love this connected, creating ritual and this connectedness to my body. Like, I mean, I buy myself flowers, I light up candles, I make my room look beautiful. I have my crystals. I have oils, you know, and then there's the Queen's Pleasure oil. Like there's so much we can just being with our skin, you know, just navigating our skin, smelling, touching, caressing, playing with our hair. Like all of these things is part of our sensuality, our pleasure, and our connectedness to our bodies and to our pussies. So I invite us to continue discovering that for ourselves. And I am going to suggest a book that made a profound difference for me as I explore my own sexuality and healing, which is Women's Anatomy of Arousal by Sherry Winston. It is, it truly is like a Bible into all the different parts of our yoni, how to discover her, and the energetics of it. And it actually has little notes at the back of each chapter for men to learn and discover how to please and honor a yoni, a pussy, in such a way that will bring bliss and pleasure to his partner. It's called Women's Anatomy of Arousal. I'm gonna type it in the chat.
And it might be a good moment to also say to everybody who's here, if you have not seen the other speakers on this Valentine's Day thing and you haven't signed up for the Valentine's Day thing and you want the other speakers, if you put your email here, I'll send that to you. Because it was 6 people, radical women who are, well, let's call them maverick women. They're absolutely brilliant in their own sphere about what they're talking about. So one is body, mind, soul doctor who she's a doctor. She's been a doctor for years. However, she's very alternative. And she said the myths around menopause, which I know when I was going towards menopause, it was like, oh my God, we all dry out. It's the end of sex. And I wasn't in a relationship. And I was like, oh no, like, don't make me dry up before I've had a chance to explore, you know. And she debunks all of it. And that also was not my experience either, you know, in a kind of natural way at all. So yeah, none of the dry thing happened. Yay. So that's one woman. There's another, Courtney Fay Long is talking about the distinct connection between money and sex and money, and how, so she has done a TEDx talk. She's amazing. Let me just tell the other, there's Edwina Murphy Droomer, who is talking about pleasure, not of sex, the pleasure of the senses, the pleasure of nature. And by the time you hear about how she talks about fruit, you will want to go out and get some. It's like quite amazing, you know, flipping you into that level of pleasure. Laurie Rising is quite a starseed channeling out there, amazing woman. And she talks about the pleasure of life, how to create a life of pleasure. And I will be doing I do a lot of singing bowl or singing chalice work, which is like an activation meditation. I'll be doing something all about working with desire. And so activating you into desire. So yeah, there's lots of things to come to. And Maria, this has been amazing. I don't know, I'm going to just copy these emails, but I don't know if there's anything you want to say or, you know.
I want to say thank you. Thank you, Inarra, for creating these spaces for us women to come together and speak about and be in community and in community with one another about something so sacred, womanhood and our sexuality. And I just want to say that our sexuality has been so diminished by society. And it's time for us to take our power back. It's time for us to own our birthright of pleasure, of passion, of intimacy, of magnetism, and really being unapologetic about being a woman. And I want to remind us to hold our crown in place, and always when you see another sister whose crown has fallen, pick it up and put it on her head.
Oh, that is a
Yeah,
beautiful, beautiful
yeah.
thing to say. Yeah.
We live in abundance. And the more we come together in synergy and in union and in community, we create magic and miracles happen. So I invite us to continue healing and creating sacred spaces for ourselves and each other to thrive, grow, and expand as we take on this life and live it to the fullest. And I invite us all to live an orgasmic life. Thank you.
Of course you do.
Of course I do.
Of course you do. Your brand is your orgasmic life. So, yeah, amazing. Well, thank you. And women of the world, wherever you are, I wish you a really, really beautiful Valentine's Day. I know we've gone past it, but it is actually in the ancient festivals. It's not just about that day. It's about this timing. It's one of the ancient love festivals. So be love. Be in love. Be in love with your pussy. Find a word that you can use. Sending you so much love.